Hello and welcome to AMW's Doggy Day Out program. Thank you for joining us. Our staff and our animals are so happy to have you. In this video, we will be teaching you about our Doggy Day Out volunteer program, which is essentially, just like it sounds, a program through which volunteers are able to take our dogs out of the shelter for a day of enrichment, socialization, fun, and hopefully the chance to meet potential adopters outside the shelter setting. Chances are, if you're watching this video, you already have an idea of the benefits of volunteering. But I'd like to take a moment to really emphasize some of the rewards, both for you and for our dogs. Lots of our volunteers are folks who already have pets at home or can't otherwise adopt, but still love animals and want to make a difference. We want you to know that even if you're not adopting a pet at this time, volunteering and just spending time with them is so impactful, important, and appreciated. And we promise it means the whole world to our animals to get to see you. Spending time with volunteers, especially going on Doggy Day Out, benefits our dogs in several key ways and ultimately increases their chances of being adopted through enrichment, socialization, exercise, training, marketing, and staff insight. We'll go into further details about each of these later. And the benefits, of course, for you, the volunteer, we're a great place for folks who can't offer huge or consistent time commitment like several other organizations require. We're happy to have you whenever you're available, just a few minutes here and there. We'll talk a little more about the type of activities you can do shortly. Let's start with the most important thing to know during your doggy daycation, which is how to be safe. There are a few simple do's and don'ts to keep in mind. Starting with the do's over on the left-hand side, please do stay within the city limits. Our animal management officers only have jurisdiction to respond to calls within the city, so this ensures we can get to you just in case anything happens. The picture up in the left corner shows the boundary of the city limits. If you go to Google Maps, you can click on the word Amarillo, and it will show you the city limits as well, if you aren't sure about a location or just want to double check. Please keep the dog leashed and harnessed at all times, unless you're in a secure area, and be sure to keep reasonable space from other people and animals. Sometimes even friendly dogs can be a bit intense greeting others, so we always want to be respectful and keep control of the dog. Please don't let it rush up to others or jump on them. Please take lots of pictures on your outing. Whether in a car, at home, or out in public, the different settings help the animal's profiles stand out on the website, and it helps adopters get an idea of how the dog behaves in a setting that's not the shelter. It's easier for them to imagine the dog integrated into their lives in pictures of a real-life setting. Please be sure to return the dog to the shelter by the end of business day, which is usually 6 p.m. There are exceptions for after-hours events, which we will talk about later. And of course, do have lots of fun. Then onto the don'ts on the right-hand side of your screen. Please don't leave the dog unattended, especially in a car or with kids or other animals present. As much as you can, try to avoid interacting with unknown animals, and try to avoid anything stressful or overstimulating, like crowds or loud and chaotic environments. One of the key benefits of leaving the shelter is for the dog to have a chance to decompress from what is normally a very loud and stressful environment. So we don't want to take them into an environment that is loud and stressful in potentially new ways. And then if you look on the top right-hand side, you will see some weather considerations. As you know, the weather in Amarillo can be pretty extreme, so please be sure to provide water, take breaks, and limit outdoor exposure on days it's very hot or very cold. Additionally, please be mindful of the pavement as it can amplify hot or cold temperatures. And when it's cold outside, if it's covered in rock salt, that can be very abrasive to the animal's paws. Here is some information you'll want to keep handy. So I suggest pausing the video to take a picture or adding these contacts to your phone. You'll also be given a brochure at the time of your outing with these numbers. On the left is the contact information for our field manager and officer dispatch. Please contact these numbers in case of urgent matters, such as if the dog escapes or is stolen, if the dog is behaving aggressively or somehow suffers an injury, if it's bitten anyone, or if there's anything preventing you from being able to return the dog to the shelter, or any other urgent concerns. Luckily, at the time of recording this video, none of these things have ever happened, so fingers crossed. And then on the right, you will find contact information for the adoptions office and outreach manager. The office number only takes phone calls, but the outreach manager's phone accepts texts. Please contact either of these numbers for non-urgent questions, like if the harness or tags are lost, if you encounter citizens potentially interested in the dog or the volunteer program, or if you'll be a few minutes late to drop off the dog. We get lots of questions about which dogs are able to go on outings, how we determine eligibility, or folks wanting to take out a specific dog they may have seen on the website. Unfortunately, not every dog is eligible for an outing. They must meet several criteria, including being up to date on vaccinations, including rabies. They must have a favorable behavior assessment. They must be spayed or neutered, microchipped, and they must be available for adoption. For this reason, we don't have a lot of puppies in particular that are available for outings. It's mostly going to be long-stay adult dogs. Adoption staff will have a list of dogs to choose from, and we can help match you with a suitable dog for your outing. We use these criteria because from the view of public safety, even worst case scenario, if the dog were to escape, it's much less likely to harm the community by spreading disease or contributing to overpopulation. And since it's chipped, there's a very good chance it will eventually be picked up and we will know it belongs to the shelter. These are also good talking points to keep in mind in case you encounter potential adopters who may be interested in the dog or ask about adopting. Since the dog is fully vetted, they're usually available to go home immediately once adopted. Please do not let the dog leave with an interested adopter. You can invite the adopter to come back to the shelter and fill out the appropriate paperwork with us before taking the dog home. One more thing that's important to keep in mind, even though you'll be getting a dog that had a good behavior assessment here in the shelter, it's always possible for animals to have potentially adverse reactions to being in an unfamiliar environment. So please be careful, take it slow, and watch for any signs of fear, discomfort, or aggression. If needed, you can always call us to assist. Here are some examples of the types of activities you can do on Doggy Day Out. We briefly mentioned this earlier, but one of the main appeals for our volunteers is that it's a very low time commitment. You can just drop in and get a dog on your way to run some errands, or say you're meeting friends for lunch. That's a perfect opportunity to take a dog along for a quick outing. Here's a very brief list of a few businesses like shopping and restaurants that at the time of recording this video allow pets or have a pet-friendly patio. There are many more in Amarillo, and we do have a more detailed brochure that we will send you with. None of these businesses are affiliated with AMW, so please pay attention to any signage or policy indicating the allowance of animals, and please obey staff if they inform you that animals are not allowed. One thing to note, if you do go to a restaurant, please be mindful of how much food you feed the dog, and please limit human foods, especially those high in sugars or fats. We don't want the dog to get sick in your car or have tummy troubles once they come back to the shelter. So a few small bites or very modest treats are appreciated, but please don't overdo it. Here's a list of a few nice walking trails and parks. Of course, this is nowhere near a comprehensive list, as Amarillo has literally dozens of parks all over town, with various walking trails and beautiful scenery. So you'll likely never run out of parks or get bored, or at the very least, it will take you a very long time to do so. Dogs, of course, love, love, love going to parks, so you really can't go wrong. At the bottom there, Southeast Park is actually just down the street from the shelter within walking distance. So if you feel hesitant to have a dog in your car or you're short on time, you can just grab a dog and walk to that park. There's also a great website called Bring Fido, which I will link below in the description. It lists more dog-friendly businesses and activities. Please just make sure you're staying within city limits when you're looking at those options, because even when you filter by Amarillo, it still tends to list things that are in Canyon or outside of city limits. And of course, you are allowed to take dogs to your home, but please obey any policies from your property manager, if you have one, about having pets on the premises. We don't want anyone getting in trouble. In addition to the activities listed on the last few slides, we do try to participate in special events, community events, things that sometimes run after hours. For example, the last few years, staff and volunteers have gone to summer concert series like June Jazz, Jazztober, and the concerts in Sam Houston Park. The outreach manager will send out periodic texts and emails of after-hours events that we think may be a fun opportunity for Doggy Day Outs. But if you have an event in mind you think would be good for an outing, or you want to stay after hours, we can usually accommodate that. Please just be sure to schedule it ahead of time so that we can make sure we have someone here at the shelter after hours to pick up the dog when you return. And finally, at the end of your day out, we will ask you to fill out the report card and share any pictures. The report card and pictures will be added to the animal's profile so that adopters can see it, which gives more insight into the dog's personality and behavior, and it helps them stand out. Additionally, if you notice any medical or behavioral concerns, please share that with staff. This is a horrible example, and I hope it doesn't happen to anyone, but say you took the dog home and it immediately started marking your furniture. That's something we'll need to prepare adopters for ahead of time and potentially prep them with behavior resources. If you notice reactivity to other animals, or say a limp, hair loss, anything out of the usual, let us know so that we can address it. And if you had a good time, if you took the dog home and it did not mark all over your furniture, we definitely encourage you to share your experience on social media, invite your friends to participate. Anything to help us get the word out about this program makes a huge difference in recruiting more volunteers and allowing even more dogs to have outings. Thank you so much for watching. Our animals and staff look forward to seeing you soon. Please be sure to fill out the volunteer application and review the handbook if you haven't already. Links will be in the description below. Please email amwrescue@amarillo.gov or give us a call to schedule your first outing. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., but we sometimes delay an hour in the summer. So please be sure to check our website for current hours or any city holidays or weather closures. There's also more information about the volunteer program, the shelter itself, and the services offered by Animal Management and Welfare. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you again for volunteering with AMW and making a difference in the lives of our animals.